Hey Leo, welcome to my channel. This is Starchaeology Tarot. I am Desi. I am so honored and privileged to get to read your cards for you for this February 2022 reading. This is good for Leo's Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. I encourage you to watch your other placements to get a more complete picture of the unique, complex puzzle that you are. And whatever is resonant here is what is meant for you. What isn't is not. It's meant for another member of this intended collective watching today, at this moment, whenever you're watching it. So don't take personally what is not personally meant for you. Take a moment and call in spirit, call in your guides, your masters. Energy can travel through space and time. So it doesn't matter when I recorded this or when you are watching this. Your guides are entering this space now. What are the messages, Spirit, for Leo for February? Messages for Leo for February. Messages for Leo for February. High Priestess, Ace of Wands, Page of Swords, Wow, Leo. So some of you are really getting in touch with your intuition this month, intuitive wisdom and guidance that is coming to you not through me, not through this reading necessarily, but through your subconscious. It's through the deepest part of your knowing, the part of you that has access to universal truth and all that there is. You know, we all have this access, to the divine that we culturally and societally are trained to, conditioned really to kind of ignore and neglect and bury. And as we grow up, the struggle really is fighting the urge to disconnect from that, devalue that. We have to really consciously work to be in touch with that and to grow it and to work that muscle. And we're just not generally, we haven't made a routine of doing that as a culture, as a community or society. So this is that part of you. It's like there are truths that are opening up to you from beyond the veil of your consciousness, things that are coming to light for you. that aren't through any kind of like intellect or logic or rational thinking. They come from a different type of wisdom that you can't explain rationally or logically. And a good way to tell what these pieces of wisdom are is when they are not emotionally charged, because having something that is really emotionally charged, that's usually coming from a place of fear and like bias and the things that our ego, like ego structures, the way that things that our ego creates to protect itself. That's not intuition, that's fear. Intuition is intuition, things that come from intuition are things that feel completely emotionally neutral and come through that lens of love. If you're wondering if something is right, it's like if this is aligned with, if this gives the most grace to the situation, to everyone involved, to myself, it's aligned with love, which is likely then to be aligned with truth. And it shouldn't make you feel fearful or relieved, because both of those things are much more likely to be linked to the ego than the heart and the soul. So if you have these kind of like downloads happening that are not emotionally charged, it's just like a kind of a deep knowing about something, and it just is what it is. It's like neutral. It's like, I know this is right. I know this is true. That's helping to really deepen your understanding about yourself, about the world, or maybe it's about something that you're doing. I think for many of you, it's about something that you want, because we have the Ace of Wands here. So, and what's ironic is that many of you are feeling this like spark of inspiration, this like desire that you have, as being almost like your enemy. Like that desire is your growing awareness, your growing intuition is revealing things to you that you want. And maybe those things, those desires, complicate your life in a way that makes you feel threatened by the thing that you want, by the very desire that is revealing itself to you, coming into conscious light. So some of you, that obstacle is like accepting the thing that you want and pursuing the thing that you want. For others of you, the obstacle is actually getting in, like figuring out what you want. It's the lack of that spark of inspiration. It's the lack of that fire in you, and that's almost blocking your growing awareness. It's almost like impeding this high priestess that's at work within you right now. You're having a hard time unlocking the truth that's within you. You're having a hard time unlocking that inner knowing and exploring that more deeply, because you are very much out of touch with what it is that you want in life. Maybe you've kind of been going through the motions. Maybe I hear some of you maybe have been in like patterns of just survival lately, or just kind of following the next intended step, taking the next intended step without much thought or reflection. High priestess is so much about reflection. It's like no action is in the high priestess, whereas the magician is like pure action. In this state of like deep self-reflection, you're being forced to actually ask yourself what it is that you want, and reflect on the action that you are taking and what you have taken, and seeing like, does this measure up? Is this aligned with what I actually want? And maybe that is what's threatening to you. That is causing you kind of some kind of inner conflict, because maybe the truths that are coming up, the truth of the situation, is disappointing in some way. or it's highlighting what needs to change for you. And we all, of course, are resistant to change. Our egos will do anything to resist change. So for some of you, it's almost like this defense mechanism of like, I can't really self-reflect. I can't discover what I want because it's going to change my life. And I know that on this deep level, I know it's going to change my direction. And I just can't deal with change right now. So what's the advice here? How do you work through this? The biggest piece of advice is to question the thoughts that you're having, to take a step outside of your own head. You're not going to stop having the thoughts that you have. You can't control your brain. We can try to rewire our brains, but it's not, our brains are like computer systems themselves, and sometimes we think like growth means just changing the whole brain like that, and it doesn't really work like that. Over time, with like consistent reworking and consistent awareness, we can like rewire it. But most of that work, like most of what that looks like, is actually still having the initial thought, and then instead of reacting to it, immediately accepting it and internalizing it as the truth, it's pausing, it's recognizing that it's a thought, it's not you, it's not necessarily the truth, and actually kind of analyzing it as an outsider of your own head, and saying, is this the truth? Like, let me ask the question first. Is this the truth? Where is this coming from? Do I want to act on it? Do I want to consciously act on it instead of reacting? So this is like real intense observation of your own thoughts, of your thinking, and really looking at your thoughts and the things that you tell yourself with a healthy dose of skepticism, and really getting curious about it, like real observation. Take notes on your thoughts. I think if you're able to kind of look at how you're thinking more clinically, like almost like a scientist, just like learning and taking notes, it makes it less personal for you, which then automatically makes you less threatened by that conflict that you may be feeling between your inner knowing and like your desires. If you're able to take a step outside of yourself, it automatically becomes less personal. It automatically threatens your ego less. It automatically makes the idea of change less threatening to you, because you're not evaluating it from inside this specific mindset. I also feel like the advice here is like, it's almost like making a trick of your words. This is like a sword swallower. The art here is so interesting, which is like saying like, oh, these words that I used to like weaponize against myself, or weaponize against my desires and goals. Like maybe it's negative self-talk like that, doubt. Regardless, it's like now I'm making a joke out of them. Like I'm making a trick out of them. I'm fooling them. I'm turning this into something that's light and like almost like like a magic trick. Like, here are these words. These are these swords. I'm gonna swallow these swords. I can make this like entertainment. I can delight in this practice and how I work through this kind of inner work and growth. I would love to hear how this looks specifically for you in your life. Leo, how this is manifesting, because I feel like for many of you this can look a lot of different ways. So if you want to open up and share, please do so in the comments. If you got something of value out of this reading, I would so appreciate you considering to give back in some way. I have a link to my Patreon below. You can support this work and help me do it better by donating a few dollars a month, the cost of a drink per month. And it really has the potential to make a world of difference for me and also the content that you are receiving. So please consider that. There's also a lot of bonuses and goodies there on Patreon, especially for people who want personal monthly readings. Check it out. If you're not able to support in that way, please, please, please like and subscribe. Share this channel with anyone who would appreciate it, anyone who may be in need of extra support right now, especially if they're going through a time of personal introspection and need some assistance. Send them their sun sign reading. Who knows, it might really help. I'm so grateful that you're here. Thank you so much for connecting with me in this space. As always, I'm rooting for you. I love you very much, and I'll see you next time.